And welcome to Totino-Grace High School, a beautiful sunny afternoon for Northwest Suburban Conference softball here on CCX Sports as the Armstrong Falcons pay a visit here to the Totino-Grace Eagles. I'm Jay Wilcox along with Jack Tebow, first batter up of the game, Alyssa Hansen of Armstrong, and she bounces one down to second and is thrown out easily there by Killeen Wareham with the flip to first base. So one gone here in the top of the first. Armstrong looking for its first win of the season. Totino-Grace is at 1-2, and Isabella Jacobson stepping in and driving one down the line and right. It's a fair ball, so Armstrong has its first base runner. The second batter of the game, Jacobson, drops a single down the line and right. So 1 on, 1 out here for the Falcons, and Lucy Moose will be the hitter. And Jack, this type of day that we've been waiting for all these teams, and finally getting just a picture-perfect afternoon for softball.
No blankets needed, right? It's a gorgeous day.
Lucy Moose, the left fielder, will step in here. The pitcher for Totino-Grace is Bree Glynn. Got the first hitter, then the second one gets a hit. Glynn out of the circle there. The throw is a little wide, but hanging on to the bag there to make the play is Marie Schupanetz. So is retired, but they do get Jacobson to second with 2 outs.
Hit your home cut. Hit your home cut. Off 2 outs.
And Kate Lloydolt, the second baseman for Armstrong, will be the hitter. Takes the first pitch ball. Grace started with a couple of lopsided losses. Here's a look at the lineup for Ariana Crosby and the Falcons. We saw Hansen and Jacobson and then Moose. Here's Kate Lloydolt is up at the plate now and takes that one low in the dirt for ball 2. And then Mary Isaac will follow her to the plate. Then Paige Lloydolt, the pitcher. Sammy Belinton right, Jojo Harrison catching, and Nikki Ringel, the third baseman, in the 9th spot for Armstrong. That one is over for a strike.
Glenn really hasn't even had time to get a rhythm going. Falcons have been first ball swinging.
And a soft liner right at third base, and Hannah Meehan able to grab that one with no problem. And so the Falcons are done in the top half of inning number 1. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left aboard. So a half inning in the books here at Grace, and Armstrong nothing, and Totino-Grace getting set to bat for the first time. Mike Sobald's team, we said 1-2 coming in. Got thumped pretty good in their first couple outings against Blaine and Osseo, and then came back and rallied for a win against Coon Rapids. They're kind of hoping that the offense they put together late in that game maybe can carry over into this one and beyond, as they finally started to really hit the ball around a little bit. Hannah Meehan, their third baseman, will lead it off, followed by Amaya Davis, the left fielder. Then the pitcher, Glynn, hits in the 3 spot. Schupanetz, the first baseman, hits 4th. Hannah Gray at shortstop. Sarah Waslow at catcher. And then Bryn Smith in right. Colleen Wareham and Carla Meyer, the center fielder, hitting in the number 9 slot for Grace. And defensively for the Falcons, Nicole Ringel, Isabella Jacobson, Kate Lloydolt, and Mary Isaac around the infield. Moose, Hansen, and Belint in the outfield. Harrison is the catcher, and the pitcher is Paige Lloydolt, one of 3 pitchers who are likely to see some varsity action this season for the Falcons. She started their last game against Spring Lake Park and ended up an 11-2 defeat for the Falcons. They've not been able to put a lot together offensively in the early going, and they've played some pretty tough teams too. So you look at, I think both teams probably look at this as, okay, this is one that's kind of our level. I mean, a winnable game for either of us if we do things the right way and play the game the way we can play it here today. So
plus each team really isn't ready, hasn't got their identity together and haven't really got their rhythm going early on. The schedules have been changing, weather conditions not necessarily the greatest. But I agree, this one is, each side can come into the park and say this one's winnable.
So Mian leading it off, takes a first pitch up and out of the zone. She has gone 2 for 8 so far this year, so hitting at 250. Ooh, hits that one hard off Lloyd-Holt's hip. And the throw to first is just in time. And Lloyd-Holt looks like she's telling the umpire that I'm fine. And that one was a pretty hard hit ball right back at her. Just not quite able to get it with the glove, but got her in the hip, it looked like. But good recovery and got the out.
Good play by Lloyd defensively. Recovered nicely on that hard shot.
Amaya Davis, the batter now for the Eagles. She is 4 for 11 so far this year, so hitting at 364 as that changeup spins up and out of the zone. A little bit of pop too, a couple of doubles already for Davis, so somebody that they like to have, you know, in this spot in their order, a young player who can, it looks like she can hit the ball a little bit. Takes that one for a strike. Lloyd-Holt not a real hard thrower, but you know, you're hoping that you can move the ball around a little bit, change speeds a little bit. And there's strike 2.
Looks like we're going to use the entire strike zone today. A year or two ago, all the umpires received messages that we encouraging them to use the upper part of the zone as well.
Oh, slow roller to third. Ringo up with it and makes the play, so 2 gone. Always good to get a touch on the ball early, I think, for those infielders, you know, get involved in the game right away, and Ringo makes that play nicely. So Bree Glynn will be the batter now, and she has had a pretty fantastic start with the bat, 5 for 10, couple of doubles. Has driven in a team high 4. That one just missing inside. Lloyd-Holt trying to work a 1-2-3 first here. Has gotten the first 2 hitters, although the first one hit it very hard back off her body. Oops, that one just a bit high. That's the time to do it, though, with nobody on base. There's Mike Sowell, the Totino-Grace head coach. So they've got a lot of the team back from last year. They didn't have a super strong year last year. They were a state tournament team a couple years back, and they are in Class 3A, which most of the Northwest Suburban Conference teams are in 4A, and they're in 3A and not in a, you know, super tough section. So they feel like, you know, we might take our lumps a little in conference play, but there's a rocket out to left field, and Lucy Moose, a bit of a snow cone, but she will make the catch as Glenn really ripped that one. But a nice defensive play in left there for the Falcons to get them out of the inning. So no runs, no hits, and no one left on base. We've completed an inning full courtesy of this catch. We're at 0-0.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You will also have access to our large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find us, go to the App Store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all your favorite local content. The CCX Media app, now available on Apple TV, coming soon to Roku.
And welcome back here to Totino-Grace. Couple pretty hard hit balls by the Eagles in there, half of the first, but nothing to show for them as Armstrong making the plays defensively. And so we go to the top of the second, still scoreless. Mary Isaac will lead it off. Here's a look at the defense for Totino-Grace. This game actually started a little bit early, so they threw us a little curveball and got going early. So we'll get you that defensive lineup here. Meehan, Gray, and Schupanitz at first base there, and outfield Davis, Meyer, and Smith. And Waslow is the catcher. Isaac, one of the more experienced varsity players for Armstrong, and Coach Crosby said she's been one of their better hitters certainly so far this year. Don't have actual stats on them, but somebody who's been putting the ball in play pretty well, and she flicks her wrist and drops that one into left field. So a leadoff single here for Mary Isaac. Just when we're talking about her being a pretty accomplished hitter, she shows why right there.
Coach knows.
Ball on the outer part of the plate and just turned on it, knocks it into left field. And Paige Lloyd-Olt, the pitcher, will bat. Tried to bunt that ball, but didn't get it. So look at Glenn, who is 0-1, 5.60 earned run average. He's worked 10 innings so far. That one is tapped foul at the plate, so Lloyd-Olt on the first pitch trying to bunt, that time swinging away and fouls it, so she's quickly down on the count, 0-2. Knocks this one to second. It's knocked down, and then the flip is wide, and everyone's going to be safe. It's going to be an error on the second baseman Wareham there. And both runners checking in safely at their bases, so Isaac on at second, Lloyd-Olt at first. We'll see if they will run for the pitcher here. Another look. She still had time, I think, to get an out, even after bobbling it initially, but the flick was well wide of the bag. So Sammy Balint will hit, and that is a foul ball.
Yeah, after bobbling the ball that first time, she kind of got cement feet a little bit and probably got misaligned actually in trying to get that ball over the second.
So they do not run for Lloyd-Olt, and Balint fouling that first one away. This time a swing and a miss in 0-2. That one just inside, 1-2. So Glenn facing a little bit of adversity here in the second. A hard hit ball for a single to lead it off, and then an error. So a couple aboard here for the Falcons. Little soft liner up the middle. This might be a tough play. They'll get an out at second, but there'll be runners at the corners. That ball was just had a lot of spin on it. I thought this one might be tough to get anything out of. They do get the force play 6-4 at second, and Balint aboard on the fielder's choice. You see, you have to be careful not to throw it too hard when you're that close too. But pretty nice job of.
It was a good play.
Yeah, Hannah Gray did handle that one correctly. So first and third for JoJo Harrison, the catcher, takes that one for a ball. See if Armstrong might be thinking about something on the bases, sending the runner from first and trying to draw a throw. Staying put for now, taken high for a ball. In the dirt, it gets away. Runners coming, and Armstrong will be on the board first. Mary Isaac scoring on the wild pitch as Balint advances to second. Tough one to try and smother there, as Waslow just couldn't quite block it. And good alert base running. Isaac actually ended up making it very easily. No hesitation there. So 3-0 count now. And that's ball 4 as Harrison will draw a walk. So first and second, still nobody out, or excuse me, one out. And Nikki Ringo will be the hitter. I think we are going to see a runner now for the catcher. He chose not to run for the pitcher, but going to send in a courtesy runner here for Harrison, it appears. And this will be Brooke Dahman, number 19, running.
Courtesy for the catcher.
So first and second, one out, 1-0 Armstrong lead, and Nikki Ringo stepping in. A freshman lifting this one foul. It'll get out of play.
Not too far. Darla, come on in a little bit. Right there, yep. Right there.
Tapper to short. Gonna have to hurry with this one. They just get the out there, so second out recorded. Base runners move up. Good strong throw, and a good thing it was because Ringo came close to beating this one out.
Gray made a great play on that one. Charged hard on that slow moving ball, and would you say by a stride, probably about maybe half stride?
Yeah.
Very close.
Close play. Well, and certainly all the rain we've had has softened up this infield. You can tell. I think both coaches probably going to mention to their players, you know, maybe we're playing a step in further than we might normally because this ball's taking a while to get there.
Yeah, if you look at the ball in the first hop off the bat here, usually it deadens quite a bit. It doesn't get rolling very hard. Kind of slows it down.
So Hansen, who grounded out to second base her first time up. There's a nice stop by Waslow on a pitch in the dirt. So second and third for Armstrong. They've gotten one run in, but boy, it would be big for them if they could bring, you know, one or even both of these runners in. They're now 2 out. So Glenn trying to get out of it and limit the damage here.
You got the runners going with 2 outs, so you got everybody moving. So gonna have to be. Outfielders need to be on their toes on this one.
Takes that one up high out of the zone, so 3 balls and a strike. First base is open, of course, but Glenn, I think, would not prefer to walk this hitter here. And there's a slow roller to first. They're going to make the tag play, and Hansen is out. So the Falcons are done in the second. They do come up with 1 run on 1 base hit. There was 1 costly error for Totino-Grace and a couple left aboard. We go to the bottom of 2. It's 1-0 Armstrong.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back here to Totino-Grace High School. Along with Jack Tebow, I'm Jay Wilcox. It is 1-0 Armstrong leading Totino-Grace here in the bottom of the second. Eagles, though, hit the ball pretty good in that first inning, Jack. I don't think, you know, they didn't have any base runners, but I don't think they feel like we're going to be held down all game based on, you know, the way 2 of the first 3 hitters hit the ball.
I mean, if they carry through with that same offensive plan, they're going to be in good shape by the end of the game, I'm thinking. They hit a couple ropes out there.
Marie Schupanitz will lead it off, followed by Hannah Gray and then Sarah Waslow for the Eagles. Yeah, they had a hard hit comebacker actually off the pitcher's hip, which Lloyd'll recover to get it out. And then the last out of the inning was a rocket to left field. So Eagles going to step in and try and do some damage here with their cleanup hitter leading it off. Marie Schupanitz is hitting .333 this year, 3 hits in 9 at-bats, all of them singles. Couple of walks as well. One of the returning regulars from that state tournament team a couple of years ago.
Looks like Schupanitz has kind of made an adjustment for the speed of the pitcher, moving up further in the box than normally you would probably see a hitter. Kind of at the front end here.
Takes that one up high, so 3-0 count.
Showing good patience.
Hey, right on me, babe. You got a kid. Here we go. Don't lose it, kid. Don't lose it.
And 4 straight bad ones. Schupanitz will draw a walk to lead off the second. So first base runner for the Eagles, and Hannah Gray will hit. Gray has 1 hit and 8 at bats so far this year. Takes that one low for a ball.
Lloyd's looking like she's having a little hard time finding the zone all of a sudden.
And you don't want to give in and, you know, put things right over the heart of the plate too, so it's a little bit of that fine line. That one is out off the plate. 2 balls and a strike now to Gray, with Schupanitz trying to get a good jump there from first base as the Eagles try and battle back from this 1-0 deficit. And a little spinner foul down the first base way.
Hey, sit back and wait, Tanner. Now you got to go. 2 strikes. Come on.
Yeah, Lloyd's job is to throw strikes, as inane as that might sound. She's a kind of pitch to contact type of pitcher. Depend on her defense.
And this one driven out to left field, and it's going to drop in. And Schupanitz able to get to second on that play. It's kind of an in-betweener, a tough one to read if you're the runner at first, and able to beat the throw in and avoid the force play there. As Moose had a great catch on the liner earlier. That time maybe just a little bit of a slow break there, but I don't think she wanted to, you know, gamble and overrun it either.
I'd give it a tweener route.
Oof. Oslo nearly hits her coach right there.
May want to move back a few more steps. He's going to hit it out into left field, would you? Don't come over here.
Oslo's gone 2 for 9 this year. One of her hits was a double. Just missed with that one. A little bit of an unusual stance. She really exaggerated stride into it. Squaring this time and takes it outside for a ball.
When I see the hitters that kind of do that, they possibly have had trouble with their keeping that front shoulder in, and they feel that if they stride into it, the front side will stay a little bit longer.
Taken up high for a ball, so Lloyd'll had a trouble finding the strike zone, and then a hit after that, so Grace looking to build a big inning here. And that one's in the dirt for ball 4. They'll be loaded up now for Totino-Grace and nobody out. Bryn Smith will be the hitter for the Eagles. I think we're gonna have time called here to gather the defense a little bit. Talk this one through.
Being an offensive coach over at third with the bases loaded and he's got nobody out. Now one of the issues he's facing is it's a force at home. So now kind of maybe takes away a little bit of the suicide squeeze perhaps, because now catcher can come out in front and make a play like a first base person. And infielders don't have to be quite as close to the plate because they've got the force at home, so you don't need the time for the tag. And as a coach, I always struggled with what really would work with the bases loaded with nobody out.
Bryn Smith, 2 out of 9 this year as a hitter. Takes that one up high for a ball.
And you get the Falcons moving up to try to cut that run down. So they're going to play the plate if they can.
Hey, stay in it, kid. You got a page right at me, babe. Here we go.
Lifted to left field. This should score a run. Catch is made. Oh, they're going to hold the runner. And then the throw is high, but Harrison able to catch it. As Grace electing not to gamble. I think Schupanitz maybe thought that ball was going to drop, and they're figuring that's only the first out anyway. No sense really taking a chance. Yeah, she did go back and tag right away, though.
Here we go.
And then the throw really sailed in high. Unfortunately for Armstrong, Harrison is tall and was able to snare that one. So
I think it was
Wareham will be the hitter.
It was a good call.
Yeah.
It looked like it might have been deeper than it was. It really wasn't that deep.
Yeah, the throw easily got there on the fly too, even though it was high. I mean, you obviously don't know that part of it when you're. And the other thing is, with only one out there with that catch, there's no real incentive to really gamble in that spot. Especially if you think your team is going to be able to continue to get base runners here. Wareham fouls that one away.
you might think about taking a little bit more of a chance now with 1 out. Because you really don't want to have 2 for that sack fly.
Change up, hits it to third. They get the force out at home. Relay to first is not in time. So they'll stay loaded up, and a nice play there on a bouncer to third. Coming home with that one. So it stays 1-0 Armstrong. Now 2 outs, and Carla Meyer will be the batter. And looks at that one up high and in. Meyer 1 hit and 8 at bat so far this year. Clutch spot here really for the pitcher and the batter. 2 outs, bases full. Eagles had what looked like a really promising inning going, but Lloyd-Old now potentially could get out of it with no runs on the board.
Looks like Falcons shifted their outfield to the right. And playing it a little deeper.
To short. Here's the throw across in time and handled nicely there by Jacobson. So Armstrong squeezes out of trouble there. It was bases loaded, nobody out. For Grace in the second, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 3 left aboard. After 2 innings full, it's still 1-0 Armstrong. Welcome back here to Totino-Grace as we head to inning number 3 in Northwest Suburban softball action. Armstrong leading Totino-Grace 1-0 through 2, and we'll have these same schools but different sport in action for you Wednesday night here on CCX as Armstrong hosts Totino-Grace in girls lacrosse. Glenn completing her warm-up tosses here as her catcher was involved in the offense there, so it took a little bit of time to get suited back up there for Waslow. Jacobson will lead it off here for Armstrong, and she had a single her first time up, so 1 for 1.
Amaya, and come in a little bit.
Takes that one for a ball. Moved her off the plate a little bit. That one, 2 balls, no strikes now to Jacobson. And 3-0 as Glenn struggling to find the plate a little bit. That one's over for a strike. See Armstrong, like a lot of teams have gone to now, wearing their wristbands with, and so signals are numbers coming their way as they check that out. And that one just inside for a ball. Jacobson aboard here to begin the 3rd. And Lucy Moose will be the hitter. There you see them checking the wristbands. See, Moose sacrificed her first time up. Going to do it again, and this is a beauty. Glenn will go to first and just got the out there. Kind of had to throw it around the runner a little bit there. And Moose, for the 2nd time in a row, has moved a runner up with a sacrifice bunt. So runner on second with 1 out for Kate Lloyd-Old.
Good contact. Nice play.
A good reach over there by Shupinitz at first base. Those can be tough when the runners come in. And ooh, and Lloyd-Old gets pegged by the first pitch. So Another base runner now for Armstrong as Kate Lloyd-Holt gets hit in the hip with that one, and Mary Isaac will be the batter. Look at Lynn trying to get the thigh there. Yeah.
May have a little berry later tonight.
Isaac had to hit her first time up, takes it for a ball. So Armstrong, you know, for a team that hasn't been scoring much, they seem to have pretty good approaches at the plate here for the most part. Getting some base runners early on in this game for sure. High chopper, that's going to be a tough chance. The flip is in time. Wow, what a play over there by Wareham. I thought for sure that ball was getting through. She made a dynamite stop on that one. The runners move up, but that's a key out to get for Totino-Grace. She had a tough chance earlier and made an error, but boy, this one
stayed with the bounce. Yeah. Very nice.
And that's where you're glad you're the second baseman. The throw's only about 5 feet to get the out.
That's right.
Paige Lloyd-Holt now will be the hitter, and she takes a strike. So now 2 gone, but 2 in scoring position here for Armstrong. And it was Paige Lloyd-Holt who reached on that error by Wareham the first time up. And that one's over for a strike. Glenn trying to work her way out of trouble like her counterpart Lloyd-Holt did in the last half inning. Lifted to right field. It's going to drop in for a hit. 1 run is in. Here comes run number 2. The throw not in time. And it's 3-0 Falcons as Paige Lloyd-Holt comes through with a single to drive in a pair. Another look at this one as she just drops it in front of the right fielder. And of course with 2 outs you can be taking off there from second. Otherwise I'm not sure they would have been able to send her on that play.
Yeah, she covered the outside part of the plate well. It was on the corner and she had good plate coverage. Looped it out into right. 2 RBIs.
Yeah, Sammy Balint knocks one up the middle. Could be a play at second. Throw is not in time. So Balint coming through with a single there. Those are obviously not automatic when you got the outfielder playing in close like that, and Lloyd-Holt had to hustle and just barely beat the throw. And see, Glenn was ducking out of the way of that one, but yeah, it looks like she was definitely safe in there. So Harrison batting now. Armstrong has already put 2 on the board, and they've still got a couple aboard here with 2 outs. See, Harrison drew a walk last inning. That one's over for a strike.
I like a lot of the Falcon hitters follow the pitch to the glove of the catcher. You don't see a lot of that happening.
Foul this one away. And I liked on that previous one too, I like Harrison nodded, yep, that was a strike. And I like to see that sometimes too. They're like, yeah, you got it. I'm not going to dispute that. Especially when you're a catcher, you want to build that good rapport with the umpire too, right?
Absolutely.
Takes that one inside.
Umpires, they like to know that they're going to be taken care of by the catcher on balls and not going to be getting nicked on bad hops and up pitches.
Rip and a miss and down on strike, so first strikeout of the game, but the damage is done. Armstrong gets a couple of runs in the inning on 2 base hits, no Grace errors, and 2 left aboard. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's now 3-0 Falcons.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
And we go to the bottom half of inning number 3. Grace with a 3-0 deficit. They do have the top of the order coming up here as Meehan, Davis, and Glynn will hit to begin the third. Armstrong coming in winless, and really 3 pretty lopsided losses, but I think they've played pretty well so far here. You have to like the way they've come out, and and I think sometimes, Jack, when you have a lot of young players too, they're not discouraged yet or anything like that. They're just excited to be playing, excited to be in the lineup, and try and contribute to a win, and they've looked good so far.
Well, they're hitting the ball, but what has stood out is their defensive play. Been pretty solid. Two good catches by Moose out in left. Caught that one on the run in the first inning, and the third inning, second inning, throw it home, kept the runner at 3.
So Hannah Meehan is the batter. She's 0 for 1, but she hit the ball very hard the first time up. In fact, right back off the pitcher's hip, and it bounced in a favorable direction for Armstrong Lloydell to be able to still get the out at first base, as it kind of deflected over toward first, and she picked it up and calmly made the play, even though she probably inside was hurting a little bit.
Meehan's probably going, okay, I need another at bat. Right?
Little tap foul at the plate here by Meehan. That changeup spins way up high and out of the zone. Well, for Totino-Grace, last inning, it's kind of a mixed bag. You're disappointed you don't score when you load the bases like that, but at the same time they say, okay, we got runners. We know we can get on. And that one fouled off her foot.
Yeah, even though they didn't score this inning, first inning they hit the ball hard. Last inning, they put stress on the defense. So over the course of a game, it kind of wears a little bit. You start wearing down that defense, stress involved in the game. Sends a message. We're serious about it. We're going to score. We're going to keep the pressure on.
That time call here as a ball has come in from another field. Good spot there to halt the play before that could have gotten in the way. And that one is way up high, so a walk leading off the third for Meehan. Lloydell walked the leadoff hitter last inning as well. And so Davis will bat now for Grace. Grounded out her first time up. And that pitch is going to get by, and Meehan will advance to second. I was just going to say, is the bunt a possibility here, but probably down 3-0 like that, maybe not as likely, and then now they won't necessarily need to do it.
Nobody out, Hannah, you don't have to go.
And this one driven to center, but it's going to hang up. And the out recorded as Hansen gets to that ball. So the second time that Grace has lined the ball pretty hard to an outfielder. First it was the left fielder Moose in the first inning, and then this one, maybe not quite as tough a play, but it's still a tough one for Hansen, and gets the out there. So one gone, and Glynn will bat. High and away with that one.
Come out, Hannah, you don't have to go. Come on, Bree. Come on, 15. Hit it hard, Bree.
And this one hit hard to center as well, nearly the same spot, and Hansen will snare it.
Still under, good swing.
You got the defensive alignment played right, I guess, there, Jack.
That's one of the things that the extra 3 feet has done, I believe, is gets everyone involved in the game. So now all of a sudden outfielders are important.
Rupinets takes a strike here. She walked leading off the second inning. So now hitting with a runner at second and 2 out. Her team trailing 3-0. Would like to see if they couldn't get one across here with the heart of their order up. Fouls this one away.
Stay in there, Marie. Stay in there. You got it. Hey, battle, Marie. Battle. Come on, 13. Just wait back and hit it hard. Come on, 13.
Change up, hangs up high. 1-2.
Come on, Marie. Come on, 13.
It's a little early for the psychological advantage to go to the Falcons, but hitters keep hitting the ball to the outfield.
This one fouled on the third baseline.
And they're kind of wondering, am I going to get lucky here and drop one? She's only throwing 50, you know, and they start talking themselves into a hole. And now Falcons have a 3-run lead, so pressure mounts on Totino's side a little bit.
Taking in the dirt there for a ball. Ooh, close one taken for a ball there. 3-2. I think even Schupanitz was probably just kind of hoping I don't hear, you know,
That's right.
that strike call because it was close. Oops, that one was not close. And base runner from second's going to move up as well. And at first nobody was covering the plate, but obviously it's not too far to the backstop here. So Mian alertly moves up to third on that play as Schupanitz walks. And Hannah Gray will be the batter.
So you kind of wonder, is Mike going to send our runner down with 2 outs? Put 2 runners in the scoring position.
Gray had a single her first time up. Runner is going. Pitch was way in the dirt anyway, so Harrison wasn't going to even think about throwing that ball down. So now there are runners at second and third for Gray.
So what looked a little dire, now you possibly score 2 in this inning.
Another one in the dirt. Harris in the block, and then it was kicked a little bit by the hitter. So Lloydell trying to work her way out of trouble. She got out of a bases loaded, no out situation last inning, and now second and third, 2 outs for the Eagles and a 2-0 count. Hit to third. Ringel knocks it down. Throw across is in time. Nice recovery. And once again, Armstrong gets out of trouble in the third. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a couple left on base for Totino-Grace. We head to the fourth. It's 3-0 Armstrong.
You don't have to be so strong.
Strength is not optional. This is my mother, my purpose. Real muscle is lifting her spirits between bedpans and bad news from doctors that doubt her strength. Strength is buried in bills, managing meds, and swallowing those moments of, Mom, it's me, your daughter. Remember? My strength is super, but I'm still human, right?
Find support for your strength. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community.
Welcome back to your beautiful afternoon for softball as Armstrong leading Totino-Grace by a score of 3-0. Falcons getting set to hit in the top of the fourth. They'll have the 9, 1, and 2 spots coming up against Bree Glenn. Ringel grounded out her first time up. Made a couple of nice plays in the field, including that last one to get out of the last inning. Backhanded it, bobbled just a little bit, had enough on the throw to get the out at first and get them out of the inning. Lifting it out to deep right center field. That one's going to drop for a hit. It's bobbled just a bit, but not enough to let her advance. Ringo will have a single leading off the fourth.
Did you say Ringo will have a single?
Yeah, I realized it right as I said. I could have said base hit, I guess, but it is a single. That's correct. So she's aboard, and Hansen will hit. I thought this one might have a chance of getting a gap. Really nice speed shown by the center fielder, Meyer, to get over there. And then even when she juggled it, ball bunted by Hansen. Throw to first base in time. They get the sacrifice. So Ringo moving up. Hansen is out, but gets the job done. It's another kind of little thing that Armstrong has done well today. 3 sacrifice bunts have worked. And so Jacobson will bat with a runner at second and 1 out.
And they're moving the runners around, and their hitters are getting the job done.
Check swing there, fouled toward the Grace dugout. Jacobson's been on twice. Single and a walk. She's scored a run. Takes that one for a strike.
Glenn's got her in the hole, 0-2 now. See what she comes back with as a pitch on this pitch. Oh.
To third. Throw across is dug out. Nice play by Schupanitz. They get the out there. Runner moves up. That was an interesting one because it looked like off the bat it might go foul, but then it kind of weaved its way back toward the third baseman. And then this is a tough, long throw, and a nice play by the first baseman there, too. Schupanitz having to backhand that one. I don't think it hit the dirt, but it was still not a real easy catch. Lucy Moose, the batter, and she will knock one into center field for a hit, and that drives in another run. It's 4-0 Armstrong. Moose didn't waste any time jumping on that pitch, and she brings Ringo home for a 4-0 Armstrong lead.
Moose is an early ball hitter. I think both of her other bats were first pitch swings.
Kate Lloydel will be the hitter, and that one up high for a ball. So Moose aboard at first, 2 gone, 1 run in for the Falcons. Tapping this one foul at the plate.
You got it.
On defense, off. Come on, Bree. Come on, Bree.
Nice spot on that pitch. Really kind of tied her up inside there. So swing and a miss.
Lloydel couldn't extend on that pitch. It's going to hit her kind of jammed on that one.
Another one to third. And the throw across is in time, and so the Falcons are done in the fourth, but they do add another run. 1 run, 2 base hits. No errors and 1 left aboard. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's Armstrong 4, Totino-Grace 0.
Get it.
Get it. Get it.
Give your town a reason to celebrate, because every Goodwill item you bring home brings job training and more to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home.
Welcome back here. They got a concession stand going. Boy, it smelled good when we walked up. The softball and baseball games both being played today here, and they probably do some good business on a day like today. Waslow, Smith, and Wareham will hit for Totino-Grace here in the 4th.
I was wondering why I kept thinking about barbecue.
The other girl on the bag, she would have been out.
I was wondering why more schools don't, do that a little bit more in the spring. I mean, obviously you're not going to sell probably as much as you would at, the hockey and basketball games in the winter. There's not quite as many people around, but I still think there'd be an opportunity to make a little bit of little bit of money for your program by
I would think
concessions.
So. I would agree.
Waslow stepping in. She walked her first time up. Well, the Eagles have certainly had some base runners, but some hard hit balls have ended up being turned into outs, and just haven't been able to create any of their own breaks when they've had people on either, so they still have 0 on the board right now.
It'll be interesting to see how their psyches change if they can drop, come across with a couple runs, right? Kind of feel like they're back in the game right now at 0. Feels a little ominous.
Tapper to third. Ringo up with it and throws across for the out. So 1 gone here in the 4th, and Bryn Smith will be the batter now for Grace.
So that was Ringo's 4th assist of the game. Playing a pretty solid third base.
Takes that one for a strike. Smith flied to left field her first time up. That was the one that came with the bases loaded, in which they elected not to try and tag and score. Well played defensively by Armstrong, even though the throw in came a little high. I mean, it was still a good job to get to the ball and get rid of it quickly to keep that runner at third. Cut and a miss. That time she helped Lloyd a little bit. We haven't really seen a lot of that. Hitters chasing balls way out of the zone.
I would say both sides have been relatively patient and good choices. You're right. You haven't seen anything. That may have been one of the only ones we've seen so far.
Tapper here fouled on the third base line.
What happens with the speed of this pitcher, hitters tend to get out in front of it on their front foot, and they kind of start hitting off that front leg, and you've given up some of your linear transfer already, where your power comes from. So you're hitting off that front, kind of makes it a little bit harder, and you might become a little bit more arm-like as well.
2-2 count here to Smith. Yeah, that one way up and out of the zone, so 3 balls, 2 strikes.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
And ball 4, so Smith will draw a 1-out walk here for TG.
Time.
5th walk issued by Lloyd-Old, so it isn't like she's been mowing him down necessarily, but just getting help from her D and making pitches when it counts. And for Grace, I'm sure they're thinking, gosh, eventually something's going to develop out of this, but at the same time, you have to make it happen too. And Lloyd-Old right now getting some encouragement from her team.
Kind of story of the game right now. They're the bend not break on defense, and they're doing all the small things on offense that needs to be done. Sack bunts, good base running, timely hits.
Wareham takes a ball. She reached on a fielder's choice in her previous at bat in the 2nd inning. Swing and a miss at that one.
She'd probably like to have that one back.
Commit to your swing. You're fine. 4. Get one good one yet.
And a Tapper foul.
Now battle. Hey, now battle.
So ball and 2 strikes here to Wareham. Meyer waiting on deck. Grace trailing at 4-0. There's a called 3rd strike. Runner is going, and the throw not going to be in time. So they get the strikeout, although Smith swipes 2nd. And 2 gone now for Meyer. Another look at this throw. They didn't really get over and cover especially well. Looked like they weren't sure who was going to take the bag, but nice job at least to field it on the bounce there by Kate Lloydell to keep it right near the bag.
Puts a little pressure on their catcher because they kind of keep waiting a little bit, and then finally at some point they're going to go, I'm just throwing it down.
Meyer grounded short her first time up. Bunt attempt was made there by Meyer for a strike. Trying to get that defense moving there, I think, more than anything there, just to keep them uncomfortable, maybe make them have to make a play on the run, or fouls this one back. So 1-2 now to Meyer as Lloydell trying to have another inning where she works out of a little bit of a mini jam.
And the defense on the corners came in a little bit to take that short game away from her.
Rip and a miss, so back-to-back strikeouts by Lloydell to get out of the inning for the Falcons. Grace in the 4th, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left aboard. We've completed 4 innings now. It is the visitor, Armstrong, leading at 4-0 here on CCX.
Meet the scan. A simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
We head to the top of 5 here on CCX. Armstrong leading at 4-0, and they have Mary Isaac leading off the inning here against Bree Glenn, and she drives it deep to left field, and it's off the fence. Isaac will dig into second. Boy, I thought that one had a pretty good chance to get out off the bat. It ended up hitting the fence on the fly, so a leadoff double for Isaac here in the 5th.
Thought that was gone.
Yeah, I really did too. There isn't much wind today, one way or the other, to help or hurt a fly ball like that, and just hits in the middle of the fence. Probably the best hit ball of the day for sure here. It hits the bottom of the fence actually, and Paige Lloydell now will be the hitter for the Falcons. Looks at a ball. So Isaac 2 for 3 today. Paige Lloydell had probably the biggest hit of the game, rocking in a couple with a single down the right field line in the 3rd.
Now here we are again. I think one of the stats you hear is that if the leadoff hitter gets on, you have a 33% chance greater chance of scoring that run. So here we see the Falcons putting the pressure on again.
And then to get her to second without having to give up an out to do it too is
big.
And it's probably a little bit of a credit to Mary that she didn't admire that one and think it was gone. she ran at least hard enough to get to second on that play, which wasn't, and maybe not a sure thing.
It wasn't a
gimme hustle.
Yeah, it wasn't a gimme, right?
And there's a walk drawn by Lloydell, so she is aboard for the 3rd time today after reaching on an error and then that big single. So 1st and 2nd, nobody out. And Sammy Balint will be the hitter for Armstrong. Just missing inside, it's 1-0. And it gets away from Glenn on the throw back, but runner's unable to move up. Balint hit the ball pretty hard right back up the middle last time, got a single to center. So Armstrong not content with those 4 runs. They're trying to keep having good at bats here. See if they can't continue to put more on the board.
I wonder if Glenn is starting to overthrow just a little bit with her rhythm, possibly. You get hit like that with a leadoff hitter. You really don't want to let the other team score any more runs. kind of rattles somebody occasionally, kind of get a little rough in the circle.
That one's over for a strike as Balint squaring as if to bunt there to try and throw the pitcher off. So 3 balls and a strike. Lining this one up the middle. There could be a play at second. Nope, not going to have time to do it. Bases will be loaded up as Balint hits the ball hard for a second consecutive time. And the bases will be loaded up, and Mike Sowald coming out of the dugout for TG. I thought there was a chance to get a force play there,
so
maybe. They didn't elect to throw there.
Yeah, Wareham was over covering, so could have taken a throw. It's a tough play by the outfielder to make that decision when you have a runner possibly scoring. You kind of focus on that, and outfielders don't get to practice that type of play that much. You know, we see outfielders going, oh, we should have done this or that, but they have a hard time deciding on plays because it's hard in practice to make that situation up. And you know, it was right in front of her now. And I'm not faulting Wareham, you know, but sometimes we always say good defenses will talk with each other, and so she could have maybe called for the ball and said, "Here, I've got it." On the other hand, I think it was probably the right thing for her to keep that run from scoring. Down by 4 runs at this point, and everybody's threatening. So now, I would guess the Eagles will come out and try to cut that run down at home.
Going to stick with Glenn. We saw Ellie Knipp was warming up for TG, but they're going to keep Glenn in. Runners filling the bases here for Armstrong, and nobody out. JoJo Harrison, the catcher, will step in. So they try and blow this one open a little bit. 4-0 lead as it is, and a chance to expand it here. First pitch taken for a strike. Harrison has walked and then struck out last time. In the dirt, nice stop by Waslow there. There's a strike.
Good pitch by Glenn.
1-2 now to Harrison.
I'm sure she doesn't want to allow Harrison to extend those arms.
Trying to get her to chase one up, but it wouldn't do it. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to the Armstrong catcher. Fouling this one into the backstop.
Inside on the hands again. See where she goes in this pitch. She can come back on the same side, maybe, or a low and away.
In the dirt, another nice stop, but the count runs full now, so bases loaded up, nowhere to put her. A walk would mean a run. And a liner off the first baseman's glove. 1 run is in. They're going to hold up the second runner. Now she comes late and will score. So 2 runs in as Harrison lining a base hit off the tip of the glove of Schupanitz at first base. And a 6-0 lead now for Armstrong. Another look. This was a rope down there of Schupanitz just getting a little piece of it. And then it was some real hesitation there. Lloydo was going to stop.
Coach, you got that?
Got Dahman again running at first base, courtesy runner for the catcher. So first and third, still nobody out. 2 runs in this inning, so 6-0 lead for Armstrong, and Nikki Ringel is the batter. Ringel, a little pop-up, spinner, and everyone's safe. A run scores. Ringel didn't hit it very hard, obviously, but will get an infield hit out of it, and Balint comes in to score. And a 7-0 lead. Just really put it in a tough spot. Nobody could get there. You know, they covered first, but it was way too late to get it out there. And
looked like a 56 degree. What do you think?
We are going to see a pitching change now for Grace as Knipp is getting the dirt settled to her liking here in the circle before she takes her warm-up tosses for the Eagles. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back with more. Armstrong building on a lead here. They're up 7-0 here in the 5th.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. They were with you when you felt unbreakable, and with you when you had your heart broken. They were with you when you shared your love with the world, and with you when she became your world. They're still with you right now. But how well do you know them? You don't know my name.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education. No one receives a diploma alone. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Alyssa Hansen flying out to left field for the first out of the top of the 5th as Knipp gets the first batter she sees, and now Isabella Jacobson will hit. You see she's had a pretty good day with a single and a walk. Runners at first and second, now 1 out for Armstrong. They've scored 3 times in this 5th inning already and lead it 7-0. And again, Armstrong was 0-3 with 3 pretty lopsided losses coming in, but you wouldn't know it by today. They've played well. Popped it up on the changeup. Infield fly rule is called, and 2 gone. Lucy Moose will be the batter here for the Falcons. So Knipp coming in and doing her job so far with a couple of quick outs. You see Moose, a couple of sacrifices, and then last time had a single. Ooh, chase that one. That was in the dirt. And lets that one go by up high. Change up and a rip and a miss there by Moose. Another ball come into the outfield.
Those baseball guys over there.
Two strikes.
Hey, you're Lucy!
Just got a piece of that one to foul it off. Drives it foul down the left field line. Knipp's working in a fair amount of change-ups here, and you can throw your timing off a little bit.
balls. 2 strikes. Come on, D, on your toes now. Let's get this last off for you.
That one outside. The count will run full now to the Armstrong left fielder. First and second, 2 outs. They've already pushed 3 runs across in the frame though.
Runners going with the pitch. So any kind of ball to the outfield probably is going to score a run.
And a called third strike there. So Knipp comes in and gets 3 outs in a row. But Armstrong tacks on 3 runs in the inning on 4 base hits. No errors and a couple left on. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's 7-0 Armstrong.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
And a new pitcher for Armstrong coming in here to begin the 5th is Sarah Miller will be called on in relief of Lloydalt. Certainly not because Lloydalt wasn't pitching well, that's for sure, Jack. She's only allowed 1 hit and no runs here through the first 4 innings of this game.
She's thrown a good game. Kept the ball around the plate, which is what her job was. And I think Coach is probably going to be pretty happy with her effort today.
Yeah, the plan kind of coming in was that they were going to use Miller for part of the game, so they're sticking with it with this good-sized lead here. Lloydalt, kind of danced out of trouble here and there as she walked 5 batters, but I have to give her a lot of credit and a lot of credit to her D. Name of the game's putting a 0 on the board, and they've done that so far.
Let's see what the Eagles can do now.
Hannah Meehan will hit the top of the order, and it's for Grace kind of time to get going if they're ever going to. They got 3 more bats. Obviously they're well within reach still in this game, but so far they've had a little bit of bad luck in terms of hitting balls hard at people too. But this one driven a long way but fouled on the right field line.
Good idea. Good idea, 1.
Just missed with that change up there, did Miller. So 1 and 2.
That was close.
On Gerard throwing a little bit down there for Armstrong as well to short. Jacobson up with it and throws her out. And Armstrong continues to look solid in the field on that one. And 1 gone here in the 5th. Amaya Davis will be the batter for Totino-Grace.
Jacobson moved smoothly to her left, and the glove was right there. Got down in her legs a little bit. Good form.
There's a strike. Davis last time hit the ball hard, but right at the center fielder.
Hey, Hansen hardly had to move on that one. I think she was a couple steps.
Oof, another one hit hard, and this one will be in for a hit. Hansen ranges over and cuts it off, so she'll hold Davis to a 1-out single, just the 2nd base hit of the game for Totino-Grace. And Bree Glynn will hit.
As hard as they've been hitting that ball, it's hard to believe it's 2nd hit. Because they've tagged some balls.
Glenn is lined out to left and lined out to center. Runner is going. The throw is going to be not quite in time. Jacobson, I don't think, tagged her. Davis is in. That's a huge gamble for Grace, and frankly, they're pretty lucky to have gotten away with it because the throw was there, but I don't think Jacobson got the tag down on her. I was wondering if they might call her out anyway. A lot of times when the ball beats you.
Ooh, she missed it.
Yep.
It was right under the tag.
Now runner going again, and Davis will advance to third. So Davis, she ends up making it at second, but I don't think down 7-0. That was really probably the right play to make, but they get away with it. And I think, as Glenn looking at this one outside, I think it's a little bit of an indication there too, or a talking point for your infielders there, that you got to make sure you get that tag all the way down on them, put it to the ground and let them run into it. This one smoked to center. Hansen makes the catch. Runner is tagging, and Grace will score a run. So Glenn, with her third consecutive hard liner to the outfield, this one turns into a sacrifice fly, and Grace is on the board now with their first run of the game.
That was smoked. Another good play by Hansen.
Yeah, boy, it's a good feeling when you have a center fielder that you can count on making those plays. And for Armstrong in this spot, you'll trade that. That's just fine to give up that run to get that second out, as you have this margin of a lead and you're getting later into the game. I mean, you certainly trade that out there for the run.
Yeah, because here we are now. Bases are empty. Got to kind of start over with 2 outs. Probably 2 or 3 hits in a row, or walking an error in there. But you need something to generate another run, probably.
Oof, and Shupinitz pounds it into left field. And you kind of wonder if Grace isn't glad maybe that Lloydell's not out there anymore. They didn't, I mean, they hit some balls hard off her for sure as well, but they're having a little more success finding some openings here against Miller.
Seems like Miller's working up a little higher than than Lloydell did.
And Gray is the batter, popping it up. It might be playable, and it is. Nice catch and foul ground there made by Isaac, so they get out of trouble. Grace does get its first run of the game, 1 run on a couple of base hits. No errors for Armstrong, 1 left aboard. 5 full in the books here at Grace. It's 7-1 Armstrong.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
CCX Media on hand for this one. Armstrong leading Totino-Grace 7-1 as we head to inning number 6, along with Jack Tebow. I'm Jay Wilcox. Armstrong, as we said, no wins coming in, but looking sharp here. Grace has been hitting the ball hard of late, but 1 run on the board for them, so we got a couple more at bats to try and get back into this one a little bit more. Kate Lloydell, Mary Isaac, and then the pitcher spot, Miller, due up here in the 6th. Kate Lloydell reached on a hit by pitch in the 3rd and scored a run. So 0 for 2, but has a run. As you see, Ellie Knipp, the second pitcher of the game for Grace. Fouling this one back and out of play. I always wonder when there's nobody on base and starting in and they go to those wristbands, do they just call the one that says base hit? And they look down and, okay, that sounds good.
No, I'm going to have to find some of those wristbands for summer.
Taken for a ball on the changeup there. Taken outside for a ball there, so Lloyd trying to get aboard here to start the 6th. Armstrong has had base runners in every inning. They scored 1 in the 2nd, 2 more in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and then 3 in the 5th. That one over for a strike from Knipp, so full count now to Lloyd.
So Miller kind of throwing against form there. 3-1 hitter's pitch comes in on with a change on that. Thought that was a good pitch.
And that one's ball 4, so Lloyd working out a walk here against Knipp to begin the 6th. And Mary Isaac will step up. Mary's had a good day, a couple of hits, including a double to lead off the 5th that we thought was going to be a home run. It hit the fence. Takes that one for a ball. And I was going to say, I don't think with the way she's been hitting the ball that you take the bat out of her hands and have her bunt here.
And up by 6 runs.
Right.
Let your hitters hit.
Out in front of that one, throw to first and got her. Nice throw down as Waslow comes up throwing, and they're able to pick Lloyd off.
Good tag by Shupinitz.
Yeah, she slapped it down quick. Another look at this one. From our bench point, I wasn't so sure that she was out, but yeah, she might have been. This one lifted out to center, but it's going to hang up, and Isaac gives it a bit of a ride, but it is hauled in without any trouble by Meyer. So now 2 gone, and the batter will be Miller, the pitcher.
And Shupinitz was in a good position to receive the ball, and she made her turn to the inside of the field. Now, some first base people will turn to the fall side.
And Miller strokes that one to deep left field. It'll be to the fence on a bounce. She's going to turn and go for 2, and Miller will be in with a double with 2 outs here in the 6th.
Miller goes, this hitting, no problem.
Yeah, really. For somebody who had been on the bench all game, she came up and really lashed that one to left. I think we're going to see a courtesy runner here.
21 courtesy for the pitcher.
Yeah, Anna Gerard will run at second base for Miller. So Miller pounding a 2-out double. And the batter will be number 19, Brooke Dahman, who replaced Bolint in right field in the last half inning.
Plays that one, do the well.
So Dahman steps up. Runner in scoring position and 2 outs against Knipp, and takes a first pitch strike.
Come on, firing off field.
So here the Falcons are again threatening. They kind of just keep coming.
Out in front of that one, swing and a miss.
Nice knuckle curve,
Change up hanging way up high and out of the zone there. Dahman a little pop up, and everyone nearly collides as they come together in the middle of the infield. It's going to fall in for an infield hit. Brooke Dahman, a spinner there that just gave everyone trouble, as I think Gray was worried about colliding with her teammate, or first of all worrying about the runner, and then it's one of those that just not quite hit high enough for anybody to really feel confident calling for it either.
It's a black hole. It's of all the hits, that is the one that bothers me more than any.
JoJo Harrison, the batter, takes a first pitch strike. Came through with a big hit last inning to knock in a pair. So Armstrong not content with the 7 runs they put up. They got first and third and 2 outs. That one hangs high for a ball. Boy, and that pickoff at first is looking even bigger now.
That's right, it's huge right now.
Cut and a miss. Knipp a pitch away from getting out of trouble here, but Harrison has other ideas here. She'll try and knock in at least one more run here. Tapper to short. Gray up with it, and will throw across the diamond to get the out. And so the Falcons threaten but don't score in the 6th. No runs, a couple of base hits, no errors, and 1 left on. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's 7-1 Armstrong.
You got a king?
Go fish.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Armstrong has played well. They lead it 7-1. Grace hit the ball pretty hard the last inning. They've got 2 more at-bats to try and make up this deficit. And, of course, that's, you know, we've talked about the nice thing about softball or baseball. The time clock doesn't run out on you. You've still got the opportunity. I mean, this is by no means an insurmountable deficit for Grace here. As if they can string some things together, they're still very much in it.
I keep thinking there's going to be a big inning here at some point because the way they've hit the ball the whole game. They've hit it in solid strokes. Good defense by the Falcons, but thought maybe they can get a turn on it and get a couple breaks and a couple dropping in.
Osseo is the hitter, takes a pitch up high for a ball. And another one up high. Sarah Miller came in last inning as the pitcher for Armstrong. Gave up the first run of the game that her team's allowed, but you know, got out of trouble there. Got a nice foul out to third. Ringel up with it. Throw is in time. Kind of a sinking throw there. Didn't get a lot on it, but enough to get the out. She's showing pretty good hands over there at third. I have to be honest, Ringel looks like a pretty young player out there, doesn't she? I mean, she's done the job over there at the, you know, they call it the hot corner because the ball's coming on you pretty quick, and she's handled them all.
She sets up well, and she gets her glove out in front. So I mean, she's got a chance if it, you know, in the one play. Is it the bad hop, or one play it looked like she was right there with it.
Bryn Smith walked last time up, takes the ball there.
Yeah, she's probably thinking this is probably a pretty good seat I have here to watch this game.
So Miller having a little trouble putting it over the plate against Smith here. Smith, sure you'd like to get a base hit, but a walk would be just fine to try and get a rally started, and that's exactly what she's going to take. So a one-out runner here for Grace in the 6th. And Wareham will be the batter. Outside with that one is Miller.
Hey, this girl is struggling. Let's not help her.
There's a strike.
patient up there, all right?
You're gonna do 3-1. Hey, push the 2-1. Do it again, babe. Do it again. Come on, Sarah.
No.
In the dirt, gonna be a flip to first base, but Harrison not able to duplicate what her catching counterpart did in the last inning and pick a runner off there. Wasn't too big of a lead from Smith.
Keep it up, keep it on me, babe.
Hustle.
Back up the middle, it's off Miller's glove. They'll get the tag play.
Good.
No, did not get her.
Hey, way to avoid her. Get around and get to the base. Good job.
I thought at first the tag had been made here, but I guess not.
Yeah, I would say no.
No. They made a little contact. Tried to tag her,
It was
but
close. But no tag. Good call by the umpire.
So Meyer is the hitter. She drops down a bunt. Ringo not going to have a play, and everyone's safe. Now Ringel didn't handle that one, but I'm still going to go infield hit there. I'd go hit. Yeah, I don't think she was going to get her anyway, even if she picks this ball up clean. Meyer runs well, got out of the box, and I think this was going to be a hit either way.
It would have been very close, even if she got it clean.
So Hannah Meehan will bat. Bases full, 1 out for Totino-Grace. They're down 7-1, but maybe this could be that breakout inning that they've been waiting for. There's a strike. Taken for ball there, 2-1. And up high, and here's where a spot for Armstrong. I mean, they really you don't want Miller to just groove it belt high to everyone, but you really don't want to mix a bunch of walks in here to give Grace a chance to really get a big inning going. There's a strike. And Miller, I'm sure, is thinking, well, I know that, but, sometimes putting the ball where you want to just isn't always that easy.
That's right.
3-2 pitch is lifted out to right field, or right center anyway. Hansen makes the catch. Runners are tagging. And now they might have a rundown situation. Throw is low though. And safe, and another run will score. Wow, an interesting play there. So they get the second out on the catch by Hansen, but 2 runs come in to score on the play for Totino-Grace. So a sacrifice fly and an RBI, and then they missed on an opportunity to get an out here on the bases.
Good play by Hansen.
And you see Meyer, she did not quite get the tag. Meyer really kind of a base running mistake, but gets away with it by beating it down to second. So a 7-3 ball game. Amaya Davis the hitter. And she lifts it out to right center, but guess who? Hansen drifting over and will make the catch. So the Eagles done in the 6th. They do get 2 more runs on 1 base hit. No errors and 1 left aboard. It is 7-3 Armstrong heading to the 7th.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it, first impression. My way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Game tightening up a little bit there with a 2-run 6th inning for Totino-Grace. They're still down 4 though, and only 1 inning to go as we head to the top of the 7th. Armstrong trying to secure their first victory of the season. They will have the 9, 1, and 2 spots coming up. So Ringo will lead it off here in the 7th against Ellie Knipp, the second pitcher of the game for Totino-Grace. Ringo's had a nice game, a couple of base hits, has played well defensively, had that little bobble last inning, but overall has acquitted herself very well at third, I think. And there's going to be another base hit. 3 for 4 today from your number 9 hitter, and that kind of tells a story of why Armstrong is winning this game.
Would you like to be a coach and have that kind of hitter? So many coaches will look at a hitter in that 9 hole and think of her as a second leadoff. So
strike taken here by Hansen. Hansen, speaking of excelling defensively, she's been very good in center field today. Looking for her first hit. She did have 1 sacrifice. Takes that one for a ball. Thought there was a possibility they might have her bunting, and it's still not out of the question, but.
Never know, you never know.
Here you go, Alyssa, right here now.
And way up high for a ball there.
She's going to hit away. Put the bat in her hand. Keep it going.
All the way back, let's go.
And that one hangs up high.
Here you go, Alyssa.
Come on now, come on, Abe. Working, still don't play ball here.
Back through the middle. Ooh, a flip, and they'll get the out. Some indecision there, and it kind of gave a tough play to the shortstop, Gray, but they will get the force out. You see just at the last moment here, Wareham, it looked like she was going to go to the bag herself, and then, oh, no, I'm going to throw it. She was very fortunate they still got the out there.
Fortunately, Gray had her foot on the base because I think it caught her off guard a little bit.
Yeah, I think it really might have kind of hit her in the stomach, and she just sort of trapped it. Bunted here by Jacobson. Knipp will turn and go to first. They get the out there. So they do bunt here with 1 out, and now so then 2 outs as Hansen advances to second. And Moose will be the batter for Armstrong. I think there's sometimes that thing, Jack, where you want to get, you know, a 4-run lead to 5 so you're not tieable with one big swing. Even though innings don't necessarily develop in that fashion, it sort of feels like a math thing where you want to, you know, not be tieable with one swing.
I've been down there in the box, and you keep, you know, it's nice to think about, boy, if we had one more run, I feel a lot better. And that could be the case. Good point.
Moose had a clutch hit in the 4th to knock in a run. And taps this one foul.
Now you got it, I'll work it. Left curve shave.
Eagles will be back home here on Thursday to take on Andover. And Armstrong will be on their home field on Wednesday when they host St. Louis Park, and then they're at Irondale on Thursday and host De La Salle Friday. So fouled on the left field line. I don't think, no chance to run that one down for anyone. So Moose will still be alive at the plate.
You got it, Lucy. Right here now. Drive it hard.
Get that last one.
Yeah, we're starting to get into kind of almost crunch time, having lost games early on, and now
soft liner right at short, and Gray will make the catch, and so the Falcons are done in the 7th. No runs, 1 base hit, no errors, 1 left aboard. We head to the bottom half of the 7th. Armstrong leading Grace 7-3.
CCX Media is the first place you go for local news and sports. But did you know you can sign up for those stories to go straight to your inbox on our website? Simply go to ccxmedia.org. Click on the subscribe button, and from there, choose which notifications you want to receive. Then we'll send your favorite CCX Media news, sports, and city events straight to your inbox. Sign up now at ccxmedia.org.
We go to the bottom of the 7th. Armstrong trying to pick up its first victory of the season. Totino-Grace will have the 3, 4, 5 spots coming up. They did score 1 in the 5th and 2 in the 6th to kind of chip away. They're still down 4, but definitely not out of it yet, as Glenn, Schupanitz, and Gray will get set to bat against Sarah Miller, the reliever for Armstrong, who came on to begin the 5th inning. Glenn is somebody that has had the probably the most impressive 0 for 2 that you might see, because she's hit line drives to the outfield every time up. Last time was a sac fly. She's line to left, line to center, and line to center again, last time driving in a run. But I don't think I'd want to give her anything too fat to hit here, because she's shown an ability to really put the ball in play with force.
If I'm Mike, I'm happy that she's probably leading off down by 4 after the way she's had her at-bats today. She's had good, solid, strong at-bats.
Taken for a ball. On the flip side of that, though, you don't want to walk the leadoff hitter, even though it's a really good hitter. With a 4-run lead, you're really looking to put the ball over the plate and let them put it in play. And this one is hit pretty deep to center, but Hansen underneath it and will make the catch. So 1 gone here in the 7th, and Schupanitz will be the batter. She's been productive today, a couple of walks and then a single in the 5th. But
that was the 7th flyout.
Smacked hard just over Jacobson's glove. It might have ticked her glove, in fact, but a base hit for Schupanitz here with 1 gone. Another hard hit ball. I think we're going to see a pinch runner at first base here, and we will. It'll be, looks like Callie Elise running for Totino-Grace. And this is not a courtesy runner, it's a actual pinch runner situation here, yeah. So Gray will be the batter here for Grace, runner at first base and 1 gone.
Looks like the JV game is done down there, all the people down on left field hanging over the fence. Gets a free ticket to the varsity. Dreams of what they're going to do in the next year or two, playing for the Falcons.
Lifted to center, Hansen again getting underneath it, and she will make the catch for out number 2. And Waslow will be left up to her, 2 gone here in the bottom of the 7th. Not that play or even the previous one was difficult, but Hansen, you just right away get the feeling that she's read the ball well and she's under it and she's going to make that play.
I would agree.
Foul back.
She gets a really good jump on her ball. That play that she made to left center, right center, I mean. She just floated over there. You can see that she read it very well. I like her play out there.
Strike 2. Miller maybe a strike away from helping Armstrong to its first victory of this 2019 season. To third, Ringo up with it, throw across in time, and Armstrong will win for the first time here in this season. An impressive victory for the Falcons as they win it 7-3 for Grace in the 7th. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left aboard. And Jack, they came out and did a lot of things well today. I mean, I think you look at the way they played defensively, the way they hit the ball. Armstrong, you know, didn't look like a winless team. They played with confidence too, I thought, and you know, something to build on certainly for their young team.
If I'm Coach Crosby, I'll be very happy, and it'll be a nice ride home on the bus, and people will feel good about a win. And she can feel good about what they did because they did a lot of things very well. Like you said earlier, the small things that were needed to be done got done. Defense, I mean, if you have Ringel, right, she made probably 5 plays, and Hansen had 5 putouts, probably 5 or 6. So, I mean, solid stuff went on, and it's a good thing to build on.
And for Totino-Grace, they hit the ball pretty hard, really, throughout the game. Maybe not as much to show for it as they'd like, but they will drop to 1-3 with this loss here. But best of luck to both teams as they progress here in this 2019 season. And we certainly hope you've enjoyed this one here from Totino-Grace, as our final is Armstrong 7 and Grace 3. For Jack Tebow and all of our crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. So long from Totino-Grace High School.